charm can go a long way. Or so I've read, having zero personal knowledge of the concept myself. It just can't be everything though. Charm is ephemeral, it is superficial. You need something to underlay that charm, or soon it'll just sublime away, it'll deliquesce. Charm without substance is like candy floss. It looks wonderful, but it's cloying and it rots your teeth. Stonespine Architects from Thunderworks Games bursts with charm. It has delightful art, the central thematic concept is charming, playfully reimagining tropes we're all familiar with. The components are simple but tactile, serve the game well. This would be all for naught though if there was no game there, a solid foundation and walls. Your charming country cottage soon loses its charm if your expensive rug gets ruined the first time it rains. This is the thing about games. All of that stuff that makes them charming, that gives them shelf presence, that appeals to our magpie tendencies. All of that is totally inconsequential if the mechanisms aren't there. A game can look like one of the many turds floating around the British coastline, but if its mechanisms are honed in the right way, if the designer can reach into your brain and milk all of those regions that produce endorphins and flow, then the looks evaporate into the joy of manipulating those mechanisms. All of the expensive plastic dildos in the world can't save a game whose mechanisms are shite though. Although that doesn't stop them making millions on crowdfunding. Thankfully, Stonespine Architects isn't candy floss. It's far more nutritious than that. It can let its charm bubble up to the surface because beneath it is a game that is challenging and rewarding, and dare I say it, a game that is good. Stonespine Architects explores the same territory that Thunderworks has been traversing since its first release, Role Player. This is taking the well-worn tropes of the fantasy genre and wryly twisting them to suit the game at hand. What is interesting about Thunderworks' approach to playing with the genre here is that there is no cynicism, no supercilious curling of the lip. There is clearly an affection for the kind of naive fantasy that D&D gave birth to, and any leaning on that particular trope or foible is done with the best of intentions. A Thunderworks game won't make you feel bad about being a nerd. It laughs along with you, not at you. It is this affection for the world that it inhabits that adds to Stonespine Architects' charm. There are gnolls and kobolds and gelatinous cubes, all folded into a game that displays its influences and displays them proudly. This is not a role-playing game though, it simply wears the skin of one. Under this skin is a devilishly simple drafting game that propels the player through it using its scoring conditions. Stonespine Architects is a knotty spatial puzzle, and one that I'm bloody terrible at. In Stonespine Architects, we take on the roles of dungeon designers seeking to fashion the most dangerous fantasy dungeon for our clients. This is not an original idea, as Vlaada Chvátil walked the same ground 15 years ago in Dungeon Lords. This, though, is a very different game. Designed by Jordi Adan, designer of the Thunderworks Smash Cartographers, this is a much snappier proposition. We are given a hand of 5 cards. We'll choose one, then pass the rest of the hand to our neighbours, Seven Wonders style. The cards show potential rooms in our dungeon that are fashioned of dirt or stone. This is important for endgame scoring. These rooms are filled with the detritus of fantasy exploration. There are chests of gold, traps of various sorts, and stalking the halls, monsters and slimes, ready to bite or consume unsuspecting heroes. The choice of card has many factors, one being a blueprint that players are dealt at the beginning of the game. The more conditions you fulfill, the more points you'll score. This is a wonderful way to lead you into the game and give you a notion of which direction would be positive for you. As this is a drafting game though, you will have to be sanguine about chance shafting you, as your neighbour might have handed you a pile of crap. But working your way out of that situation and reassessing your priorities is a crucial part of the delight of Stonespine Architects. You play 4 rounds of picking and placing, and at the end of each round you're given the opportunity to buy tokens in a market phase. These tokens help you supplement what you have on your cards and help you to fulfill your goals. These goals are revealed at the beginning of each round, but drawn in this phase. You get to draw one when you pass out of the market phase, so there's a dilemma here. Do I bow out early and miss out on some useful tokens so I can get the scoring goals I want, or keep buying, trusting that my opponents are pursuing different strategies? Fortunately, the art is clear enough and the game uncluttered enough that you can refer to your opponent's dungeons to help you get to that decision. After the 4th round, points are totalled and the person with the most points wins. As games become ever more labyrinthine, the mark of a real gamer is being able to parse a rulebook that reads more like a physics textbook than a gateway to fun. Titles like Stonespine Architects posit a different path. They take a more Knizian approach, one that revels in simplicity and leverages that simplicity for depth. This is a light game that plays in 45 minutes, but that doesn't mean there are no decisions here. There are loads, and Stonespine Architects offers a real challenge, and a challenge I have yet to meet with any aplomb. Partly, this is because this is a game that really benefits those who have good spatial thinking. I don't, and as a result, I will never be really any good at this game. You have to be able to rotate things in your mind and judge the spatial ramifications of placements. This is a real challenge for me, and although I don't naturally excel at this kind of challenge, it didn't dishearten me or leave me frustrated, though that may not be the same for you. One of the real attractions to Stonespine Architects is the ability to re-evaluate your strategy as the game progresses. This is done through the goals which are drawn each round. Drawing the right goal in the middle of the game can help dig you out of a hole or confirm you in the path you're taking. This keeps the game feeling fresh throughout and throws in tempting potential U-turns. Also, as many of your points will be scored from these goals, the tension produced in the market phase is fantastic. There were so many rounds where I was crossing my fingers and hoping against hope that those bastards around the table wouldn't snaffle the goal I'd had my eyes on. Games need tension, and this is a brilliant source of it. Stonespine Architects is a game of compromise and thinking on the fly. You can have an overall strategy, but the cards your opponents take, the tokens they buy and the goals they steal keep you engrossed during the game. You will never be able to build the perfect dungeon, and pivoting is key to doing well. This is not a game for the monomaniac either. There are many ways to score, and you have to be a generalist to succeed. Ignoring one scoring path will make you lose, so for a seemingly simple game, there is a lot to keep track of here. If you're someone who is great at integrating systems, then you'll be great at Stonespine Architects. Then there's the art and components. They are top drawer and exude charm. The cover alone is filled with little jokes, and this is continued in the rest of the production. This is a small game, but every effort has been put into it to make it feel like a premium product. Not a decadent one, but a premium one. Stonespine Architects uses the Terry Pratchett device of integrating modern banality into a fantasy setting to comic effect. The idea of being dungeon designers fretting at the sudden changes that clients demand and having to turn on a sixpence to make them happy is an inherently comic concept. This concept is played for fewer laughs than Vlaada Chvátil's Dungeon Lords, but it's there, and this wry concept helps with the smooth playing of the game. You can imagine yourself pulling your hair out because Grongo, the Lord of the Fetid Abyss, has just called you demanding that his half-built dungeon now be filled with slime after he expressly forbade you to do it 2 weeks ago. You don't have to look too far to find the theme in this one. Stonespine Architects does what a good family weight game should do. It can be played casually, or you can meticulously monitor your opponents and play like a real bastard. And I'm sure that high-level games of this are a bloodbath. I recommend this game for its charm and its depth. It packs an awful lot into 45 minutes of play and belies its seeming simplicity. So, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, you can like the video. You can sub to the channel. You can tell your friends how charming I am. And if you really liked it, you can back the Patreon like these lovely people here. In the box below, you'll find links to my awards-nominated podcast, merch store, and the best Discord in board gaming. Right, I'm off to look at the leaves changing colour and ponder the ineffable tragedy of life. Or have a pint. I haven't quite decided.